fat is your secret weapon to cheat the dating game, and I'm going to explain to you why. When you're fat, and especially when you're not society's acceptable version of fat, which is small, fat, hourglass, and pear shapes, if you show up on your dates with your arms out, your belly out, right? Short hair, because you know how society feels about fat women with short hair, and unapologetically dress the way that you like to dress, men who are not attracted to fat women and not attracted to the way you look are not going to want to go out with you. Only the ones who are crazy, and you can tell if they're crazy within the first, 5 minutes of talking to them if you know what to look for. My best advice for single fat women who are dating, specifically heterosexual dating, is to go on a date with your arms out, your belly out, unapologetically fat. Because it will 100% weed out losers. It will weed them out. You do not want the men who are obsessed with the trophy wife figures. Okay? Because we see the skinny women, they're getting cheated on left and right, just as much as the rest of us, right? And I don't know, maybe it's just me. There's something so sexy, so seductive and alluring about the attraction between a man and a woman who is fat. It's something about us being like, I don't know, this is gonna sound crazy, but like larger than life a little bit. Like having all the curves, even if you don't feel your curves are society's acceptable version of curves, it's existing and taking up that extra space. It's that gravitational pull that we have over the men who are attracted to us. And I'm not talking about chubby chasers. I'm talking about the men who are just attracted to us because they take one look and they're like, yeah, I want that. That gravitational pull, when you see those couples, something about that, it's so hot. Like, oh, I need a sip of my water. It's so sexy. So don't think that being fat is your Achilles. Reframe that mindset. Honestly, it's your secret weapon, honey. It's your secret weapon.
I think being fat has protected me so much in my life. It's a blessing in disguise. You don't even know. It's protected me from so much evil eye because I really do think I do be possessing a lot of things that people want and envy. But because I'm fat, they don't see it as something that is attainable for them or like an aesthetic they want to achieve. And the most obvious one is obviously male attention. Because of my fat, I was never like given male attention growing up, which means I did not depend on it. But also, I was not a victim of being an addict to male attention. And also in friendships, I feel like I've attracted the right people because people don't care about looks. And it's not to say that like if you're fat, you're not pretty and like, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And lastly, I've had to develop a thick skin and personality, which is something many people don't possess.
You just listen to women talk about things people usually never admit out loud. How being underestimated, overlooked, or not seen as a threat has actually shaped the way they move through life. Some of them talking about being not just played by men. Some talking about people trusting them with their secrets. Some even talking about being watched with a kind of quiet jealousy. And if you think about it, that happens to a lot of women, no matter what they look like. We live in a world that decides who you are in seconds by your body, your face, your vibe. People think they have you figured out. And when they think that, they drop their guard. They get comfortable. They show you who they really are. For a lot of these women, that's how they learn who to trust, who to avoid, and how to protect their hearts. What looked like a disadvantage on the outside became a kind of armor on the inside. So if you've ever felt overlooked, underestimated, or misjudged, I hope these voices made you feel a little less alone. Sometimes the very thing the world uses to label you is the thing that quietly makes you stronger. Stay with us here. There are more stories, more truth, more moments like this that remind you you are not broken. You are becoming.
There was levels of fatness. Where I grew up and where I currently live,
the levels of fatness are very different than other parts of the US. And I think that that's a really important thing to remember. I am what's considered small fat, and I didn't realize that there was a small fat until I came on the internet. And I'm very grateful that I was made aware of the distinction. What we see a lot on here, especially because I follow a majority of fat creators and I interact with their content, and so I get a lot of their content. I do not interact with mid-size creators. And the reason for that being is that I think mid-size has really turned into this, it's like this weird in-between of women who think that they are fat even though they fall under standard sizing. And I think it's important to remember that there's a big difference between feeling and living. You can feel fat, but living in a fat body is very different. I have always lived in a fat body. It might not look like that to other people who are larger than me because I am considered a small fat, but where I was at, I was considered fat. No small fat, no big fat. I was just fat. So I was treated as a fat person. I'm 16 plus since I was 14. The smallest size that I've ever been was a 14 a few years ago when I lost a little bit of weight just due to stress and life changes. But I've never ever been below that. And so I've never considered myself mid-size. I am now a 16, 18, 1X, 2X. In plus sizing, I consider myself a plus size person. That, however, does not negate the fact that I have privilege in the size and body that I am in. One thing I wanted to touch on, especially giving like this comment, is the fact that I do have a lot of privileges even just by looking the way that I do. Being just a hot piece of ass. No, I'm kidding, but genuinely, I don't get the same amount of hate that some other creators get because of the way that my body is proportioned. I have been lucky enough that I haven't been extremely bullied or any of that. And I think it took me being on the internet to really realize that, like, yes, I have my traumas and I have my experiences, and that's not taking away from that, but it's my job as a content creator to make it aware to other people that look like me and people who are larger than me that I care and I'm aware that I have a certain type of privilege. And I make space for those who don't have that privilege. And I will try to speak on issues for them because it matters.
I think I'm going to tell you why I love being fat. See if I can articulate this, because it's thinking it, but it's a different thing trying to get it out of my mouth. The majority of men are not attracted to fat women. When they're not attracted to you, they don't pretend in front of you. They show their true colors because they don't want you in bed, so why should they try to be anything other than what they are? So this tells me a couple things. One, if you want to know about a dude that you're interested in, find one of your fat friends, make them hang out with the dude, and then have them report back. You'll know their true colors. Because they ain't faking shit in front of your fat friends. I could tell you from so much personal experience. So if you ever like, why does she hate men so much? Because I'm forced to see the real them because I'm fat. And this is why I love being fat. It is much easier to be happy in life when the approval of men just blows away with the wind. I've seen too many of them be who they really are. So when they're presentable in front of somebody they're attracted to, it's like, poor thing, if only you were fat, you would see him for who he really is. I think being fat might be the key to happiness. Oh man, the skinny pick-me girls are gonna either learn a valuable lesson or hate my guts, and either way, I'm perfectly fine with that. And if you're like, no, but I'll be fat. How can I be happy if I'm fat? When you stop caring what men think, it is amazing how little you will care about the physical appearance of your body. I'm not saying that all women who have the body type that men find attractive are pick-me's. Just calm down. I'm saying the ones that fit into that category. If me saying this has just ruffled your feathers, I am talking about you. That's okay. Who cares what I think? Just a fat girl, right?
Being fat feels a lot like being famous. For example, when you're fat, you feel more comfortable having someone with you when you leave the house, because if someone is with you, then you're less likely to get bullied. And if you do get bullied, then hopefully that person will stand up for you, kind of like a security guard would. People take pictures and videos of you out in public without your consent and post them on the internet. People assume things about your intelligence, morals, and character, even though they've literally never met you. People stare, like not just little kids, like grown people will have no problem gawking at you like you're an animal at the zoo. Your accomplishments are downplayed as if you don't deserve them. People treat you very differently than they treat normal people, almost like you're not a real human with feelings. They're very comfortable saying things to you that they would never say to someone that they viewed as a real person. You have to sort of live in this bubble outside of reality. Like, you can't really participate in the same life as a normal person. You can really only cosplay it. And when you are trying to be normal, you know that it's all the people around you are thinking about, even your friends and family. And you know that it affects how they treat you. And you can't even talk about the challenges you face because then people will attack you and tell you that you chose your life and have no right to complain about the negative aspects. I know this sounds very delusional, but it's the best way I can explain it.
When you really think about it, being fat is a privilege, okay? And it's a privilege because you don't have to hold yourself accountable to anybody. Yourself, the people you love, the people you care about, your partner in your relationship, your family, the people that care about you, right? Because obviously being fat or obese is unhealthy. But you walk around like you don't give a shit about what anyone thinks or about how the people who love and care about you see you, right? Because they may not tell you like, hey bro, like you're fat, because they don't want to hurt your feelings. But deep down they're like, fuck, this guy or this girl is fat, obese, and unhealthy, and I'm worried about them. But you're just walking around all fat, you don't give a fuck because you just care about yourself. And that's a privilege to be in that position, right? Because a lot of people in life, they have to worry about how they show up for everyone, their loved ones, their business partners, so on and so forth. But when you don't have to, that's a massive privilege. So being fat is a privilege.
Okay, so I just got back home from my daily walk. I've been lucky enough to enjoy some good weather so I can get back to walking again. You know, it helps with my anxiety, depression, and my stress because, Lord, I'm going through it. And what was so funny about tonight was I realized that I have a privilege that I take for granted. The sun's like going down earlier than normal, and I left my house later than I normally would for my walk. And as the sun started going down and it was getting dark, the street lights were going on, I just chuckled to myself and I was like, well, thank God I'm not a petite blonde out here running because this could be dangerous. And I make that joke to myself all the time or to people like, oh, I'm happy to be in this space or here. I just check for a petite blonde. If she feels comfortable running in this neighborhood, I'm comfortable being here. And, you know, when I got to my car, it was dark. It made me so sad because I know for a fact that because I'm not the beauty standard, I'm probably not going to be targeted by many people. And that those women who are have to be terrified of something so simple as running at night or walking at night by themselves. It reminded me of what happened to Eliza. And then there's this girl on my timeline. I can't stitch her video, but she's running 6 miles and documenting, you know, each portion of her run. And she realizes that she's being followed by a man in a red Pontiac. And what was so sad, I've watched it a bajillion times. It's like, it breaks my heart because you see her joy. She's doing something she loves. She's talking about music and, you know, challenging herself to be better and goals that she has for her fitness. And like halfway through her run, all of that joy is taken away from her. And she basically ends up, you know, in tears, begging someone to let her stay at their house so she can have her mom come and pick her up. And then I saw another video about a girl from Queens chasing down the guy that actually was following her and ended up grabbing her. Like, how insane is that? And I talk a lot to women who are the beauty standard, and they're like, you know, I need a guy to protect me because, you know, someone's going to grab on me and someone's going to touch my butt inappropriately, or someone, you know, me as a fat black woman, I really never had that sort of fear. You know, it's a privilege for me to be in this body, but it infuriates me that women have to live that way, and I want to advocate for them. Are there any like self-defense companies that I can like partner with or collab with or something? This has got to change.
This is not just a collection of stories. It's a reminder of the quiet strength women carry every day. Strength that doesn't need to be loud, doesn't need approval, and often comes from being underestimated or overlooked. These women show that the power isn't always about what the world sees. It's about knowing your worth, protecting your heart, and moving through life with confidence, clarity, and boundaries. Whether you are big, small, or somewhere in between, the lesson is the same. Your value isn't decided by anyone else's eyes, but by the courage you show in your own life. So take these stories with you. Let them remind you that you are capable, strong, and deserving of respect in every room you enter, in every relationship you have, and in every choice you make. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more voices, more stories, and more reminders that your strength is already within you. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and leave a comment down below.